Hey up, it's that old Yorkshire geek here, back again with some more geeky news. Got a Star Wars cap on today for the change, because we've got a bit of Star Wars news. Hey. Right, so we'll crack on. As I said, make myself small. And we'll get this big window up. Here we go. First up, Doctor Who. Doctor Who. Could Hugh Grant be the next Doctor? And he'd be like, wouldn't he, like that? The Notting Hill and Paddington 2 star is the latest big name to be linked with the soon-to-be vacant role. And there he is. But not as Doctor Who. How would he be doing his dance like on Love Actually? Probably not. Unsurprisingly, all sorts of big names have been linked to the soon-to-be vacant lead role in Doctor Who in recent months, and the latest star to be mentioned is none other than Hugh Grant. According to The Mirror, an insider on the sci-fi juggernaut is quoted as saying that returning showrunner Russell T Davies wants the Notting Hill star to bring a fresh feel to the role, claiming that conversations are in progress. This chimes with the fact that Davies actually asked Grant to play the role once before, offering him the gig when he first took over the show in 2005. I literally offered him Doctor Who in 2004, Davies told the Eye. That must be a thing. In 2018. I told him, is it to do with the Independent? Is it like the Independent's like online cool website? I think it is, isn't it? Anyway, I told him that, and he was like, really? He knew nothing about that. I love him. I think he's one of Britain's finest actors. I was offered the role of the Doctor a few years back. Oh, this is Grant talking. A few years back, and was highly flattered, Grant noted in 2007. It's only when you see it on screen that you think, damn, that was good. Why did I say no? I mean, damn, that was good. Why did I say no? I know, I can't do impressions. Or impersonations, which is the proper term. An impressionist is a painter. An impersonator does other people. But I digress as usual. Anyway, so how likely is it that an A-lister like Grant could really be about to pick up a sonic screwdriver and head into the TARDIS for some adventures in time and space? Well, it's too early to say for sure at this point. It's probably best to take the rumours with a pinch of salt. And it's worth noting that when contacted by radiotimes.com, radiotimes.com should know, shouldn't they? The BBC declined to comment. It's just that one department talking to another, isn't it? But I suppose the BBC is a bit like, any British government department where one room doesn't know what the room next door's doing. Because they're hopeless. Bureaucracy. That's what it is. Bureaucracy. Gone mad. Anyway, there's a lot of speculation, because it's in italics, flying around at the moment, and many conflicting reports as to who is most likely to take over from current Doctor Jodie Whittaker. Anybody would do. This cap's a bit too small and it's popping off my big fat head. I suppose one size fits all. It's a load of rubbish, that, isn't it? Anyway, I think Princess is coming to say hello. Where is she? I've just heard a noise. She's sneezing. Can you hear her sneezing? What are you doing, Princess? She's a cheeky monkey. She's probably stuck her face in somewhere dusty, because there's a lot of dusty places in my house. Right, anyway, Fadi El Sayed, I've never heard of that person, Ollie Alexander and Lydia West are among the most prominent names said to be in the running, while most sensation of all are rumours about a return for David Tennant, with some claiming that the former star could be set to play a new incarnation of the Time Lord who looks and sounds the same as the 10th Doctor. And there's Hugh Grant again. Wait, we didn't see a snot bubble then. Oh dear. Live. As for Grant, any deal to see him play the Doctor would mark a major career move for him, given that the role is one that requires a lot of commitment and makes it rather difficult to pick up other big roles. He hasn't been having many lately, has he? Grant is currently slated to appear in upcoming films Operation Fortune, Ruse de Guerre, and Dungeons & Dragons, while recent credits have included The Undoing, The Gentleman, and his now iconic villainous turn in Paddington 2. Not seen any of them. If he was to take on the role, he would be the most high-profile star to ever start playing the Doctor, and it would be seen as a real statement of intent from Davis and the production team, given that Grant was reportedly in the frame back in 2005 and has since worked with the screenwriter on A Very English Scandal. It's not completely out of the question that Davis would think of him for the role. Plus, he has sort of played the role before, portraying an incarnation of the Time Lord in classic comic relief sketch The Curse of Fatal Death, alongside Richard E. Grant, Jim Broadbent, Joanna Lumley and Rowan Atkinson. So who knows, maybe he'd now like to do it for real. But for now, it's probably best to just treat these reports simply as rumours, at least until some more concrete information comes to light. And that's it. So I think he'd play a good Doctor, to be honest, because I like Hugh Grant. I know he don't do that, but whatever. Yeah, I think he'd be alright, but I doubt it'll be him. It's just one of these rumours that's just started magically on the internet. And got that a bit bright, haven't I? Let's knock it down a bit. There we go. And one of these rumours that started, it's just spread like wildfire, like they do on the internet. So anyway, I think it'll, as I said before, I think it'll be someone controversial, and I think they'll make the next Doctor gay. So there, it'll be a gay man. So it could be this Ollie Alexander or somebody else like that. I think that's what it'll be. But we'll have to wait and see, won't we? As they say. Right, Star Wars stuff. Where are you going? What's that doing down there for? Right, Star Wars' Obi-Wan Kenobi show reveals new details. We've got a bad feeling about this, says Digital Spy. As usual, all the links are in the description box below. Don't forget to like and subscribe and share the videos and drop a comment. And if you're watching it live, nobody ever does, very rarely. Drop a live comment. What else? I think that's it, isn't it? Yeah, whatever. Use the notification bell. Keep forgetting about that. Because it helps the algorithm or whatever. But, subscribe and tell your friends to subscribe. Get me some subscribers. Because most people don't subscribe. I don't know why, but they just don't. Right, Obi-Wan Kenobi has shared a brief synopsis ahead of streaming on Disney Plus this May, with Ewan McGregor back behind the blue lightsaber and Hayden Christensen reprising, I'm going to say reprising from now on, Darth Vader. This Star Wars TV continuation automatically became the biggest of the bunch following The Mandalorian and the Book of Boba Fett. But what's the Jedi Master up to? 10 years since the events of Revenge of the Sith. Well, he's sat basically on a bus, isn't he? I'm sure I know that person. During the reign of the Galactic Empire, former Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi... this is the synopsis, sorry. I'll start again. During the reign of the Galactic Empire, former Jedi Master Obi-Wan Kenobi embarks on a crucial mission. Kenobi must confront allies turned enemies and face the wrath of the Empire. The synopsis reads via comic book. While that might be a little vague, the Scottish lead star did previously tell Forbes, I think it's no secret that Hayden Christensen comes back and we've got to play scenes together again as Obi-Wan Kenobi and Anakin Skywalker, and it was just fantastic to work with him again. I'm not going to give away anything else about the storyline, only I think it's really going to satisfy Star Wars fans. I always felt there was a story between Episode 3, where I finished playing Obi-Wan in the movies, and Episode 4, where Alec Guinness is Obi-Wan Kenobi. The Obi-Wan Kenobi writers and director Deborah Chow and I and everyone I think they crafted a very fine storyline. I think people are going to like it. Elsewhere in the cast, Rupert Friend, Asteroid City, never heard of it, breathed sinister life into the Grand Inquisitor. Oh, this is the one with the fat head. While Joel, it looks like Robocop without his helmet on. While Joel Edgerton is back as Luke Skywalker's uncle living on Tatooine. You know, his uncle that, as I said yesterday, Ben Kenobi murdered, along with Beru and all them Jawas, and blamed it on the Empire. Just saying. My theory. As for whether Obi-Wan could be brushing shoulders with Mando or Boba at any point, Lucasfilm President Kathleen Kennedy has ruled out the possibility. All that falls within the Mandalorian timeline, she said, before Director Chow added, the strongest connective tissue for us is to the prequels, because that's where our characters are coming from, and that's where their story started. So really the prequels are the most connected to our series. Yeah, but see, Kathleen don't understand it, does she? Because obviously the Mando and Boba Fett are knocking about. Yeah, in this timeline, are they? Yeah. Boba Fett's probably still doing his bounty hunting, isn't he? And Mando is, I don't know, what's this? Is about 15 years before, isn't it? So it's probably a teenager. He's probably still in training, isn't he, to be, you know, as with the Children of the Watch. Is it Children of the Watch? Something like that they're called, aren't they? So he's probably still in training with them. Maybe he ain't got his armour and stuff yet. But he's around. But she's wanting to keep them separate, isn't she? She's, I think she's stamping her name on Obi-Wan Kenobi, because it is kind of separate to Mandalorian stuff. It's not a John Favreau and Dave Filoni project, is it? So she's got her claws in it. Yeah, anyway, that's not very good. There's another Star Wars thing here as well. Speaking of, new details, Obi-Wan Kenobi's Ben Safdie, or Benny Safdie as I've seen him, is reportedly playing a totally new Jedi. The latest rumours surrounding Disney Plus's upcoming Obi-Wan Kenobi suggest that Ben Safdie is playing a Jedi that is new to the Star Wars galaxy. Warning, it might contain spoilers. That's what you're here for. Ben Safdie's role in Disney Plus's upcoming Star Wars series Obi-Wan Kenobi may have been revealed. Safdie is said to be playing Nari, a young Jedi who survived the murderous Order 66 and has been searching for Kenobi ever since. According to a report from Bespin Bulletin, Nari is being hunted by the Inquisitors who have followed him to Tatooine. Oh, pardon me. Oh, that sounded horrible, didn't it? Ooh, I'll have a little drinky. Diet Coke. The report expands further, saying that Reva, the fifth brother and Grand Inquisitor... Oh, right, yeah, Reva, the fifth brother... I thought it would say Reva, what, the fifth brother? Hey? Reva, the fifth brother and the Grand Inquisitor threaten the civilians of Tatooine in the hopes of forcing the Jedi to show himself. And this leads to the Grand Inquisitor giving a speech about the Jedi not being able to help themselves. Or help themselves. The report also suggests that Safdie's Nari is visible in the recently released Obi-Wan Kenobi teaser trailer. The first sighting comes when Moses Ingram's Reva jumps in front of a character believed to be Nari, who is wearing Jedi-like robes, while the second seemingly shows Nari's dangling feet after the Inquisitors have killed him. The trailer also includes Kenobi saying, "The fight is done, we lost," in a voiceover, and this dialogue is allegedly spoken to Nari when the pair meet. Safdie was confirmed as part of the Obi-Wan Kenobi cast in March 2021, though rumours of the character Nari began circulating in February 2022. Previous rumours stated that the Jedi is searching or they mean it, I don't know. Oh yeah, sorry. That Nari is searching for Master Kenobi with the hopes of re-establishing the Jedi Order and overthrowing the Empire. However, Nari's presence on Tatooine puts Kenobi's mission of protecting Luke Skywalker at risk by drawing inquisitorious attention to the planet. Previously appearing in Star Wars Rebels, the Inquisitors are a group of Force-sensitive dark side agents that serve the Empire to hunt down any Jedi that survived Order 66. Several Inquisitors are fallen Jedi who, upon joining the Inquisitorius program, lost their names and became known only by numbers, such as the Fifth Brother. Ingram said that her character, Reva, third sister, shares a common dark side goal with the Grand Inquisitor, Rupert Friend and Darth Vader, and that the trio is on the same team. If she's got a name, they're calling her Reva, and not just a third sister, then she's going to turn into a goodie, and she's going to, save everybody at the end. You heard it here, and a lot of people are saying that. A lot of people. Due to Order 66 and the work of the Inquisitorius, the series starts with an isolated and struggling Obi-Wan Kenobi. According to actor Ewan McGregor, we find Obi-Wan at the beginning of our story rather broken, said McGregor, and faithless and beaten, somewhat given up. The death of Nari is sure to weigh heavy on Kenobi as the series develops. Obi-Wan Kenobi premieres on Disney Plus on May 25th, and I think that's a load of rubbish. If they do it like that, I mean, it's 10 years, isn't it, since Order 66. That's a long time, And he's a Jedi. He's Obi-Wan Kenobi. He should be over it. I don't want to sound cold and stuff, but, it's not reality. It's fantasy, innit? He's a superhero, basically. He should be over it. And he should be, doing his mission, protecting Luke, doing his training, conversing with Qui-Gon, and all the other stuff he's doing. It's obviously, maybe it's keeping in touch with the rebellion or what's his face, Bail Organa. So he's not going to be sat there twiddling his thumbs or navel gazing, is he, for 10 years? God, I hope not. They'll mess it up. They will. It'll be crap. It will. I'm saying it now. It's going to be crap. Again. Right. Speaking of the Inquisitors, let's have a list. I've got these all way down here. Every Star Wars Inquisitor that we know so far. The Disney Plus series Obi-Wan Kenobi is set to feature some Inquisitors from the Star Wars universe. So let's take a look at all the ones we know. The following contains minor spoilers for lesser-known Star Wars titles. Do you care? No. Over the years, more Star Wars Inquisitors have appeared in the galaxy far, far away. God, I wish I'd stop saying that. Anyway. Why don't I just say it all? Have appeared a long time ago in the galaxy far, far away. Just say it. Because they want to. They can't help themselves. Anyway. Now there is a full arrangement of these dark force wielders that any Star Wars writer or fan can explore. The Obi-Wan Kenobi trailer has already promised the appearance of many Inquisitors from Star Wars lore, and the show could still introduce more. Since the trailer dropped, many fans are looking to brush up on some of these less well-known characters. Emperor Palpatine possibly making a return with Obi-Wan Kenobi. We'll see. Organise the Inquisitors specifically to hunt down remaining Force wielders throughout the galaxy. If he appears, I think he'll just be a hologram like he was in Empire Strikes Back. Pardon me, sorry. Some former Jedi joined by choice, and others were tortured until they accepted their new roles, regardless of how they joined or earned their place in the ranks. Every Inquisitor survived rigorous training under Darth Vader himself. Drop and give me 20. That's what he said. They are technically not Sith Lords, thanks to the rule that only 2 Sith may be alive at one time, and Inquisitors remain underrated characters in Star Wars, but they are just as big of a threat to the remaining Jedi. Here's a list of all the Inquisitors we have encountered so far, and what makes each one unique. The Grand Inquisitor, there he is, in his Robocop head on. As is implied by his title, the Grand Inquisitor is the highest-ranking Inquisitor. He earned this rank by being the best trained and most powerful of all the Dark Jedi in Palpatine's crew. His crew. I'm setting up a crew for a job. In Star Wars Rebels, the Grand Inquisitor hunted Jedi Kanan Jarrus and his apprentice Ezra Bridger. The Inquisitor even successfully captured Kanan for a time. However, Kanan's ragtag team quickly rescued him, and the Jedi defeated the Grand Inquisitor in a duel. Kanan spared the Grand Inquisitor's life, but at that point, the Inquisitor chose to fall to his death rather than face the wrath of Darth Vader. Why, yeah, because Rebels takes place after Obi-Wan Kenobi, doesn't it? Yeah. The Grand Inquisitor will appear in the new Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus just before the events in Star Wars Rebels and at the height of the Inquisitor's power. The second sister, she is flanked by a couple of them. Death Troopers, other Death Troopers, whatever. The second sister is the main antagonist in Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order, and she has one of the I've got it, but I never finished it. And she has one of the most detailed character arcs of all the Inquisitors. She and her master survived Order 66 and successfully avoided the Empire for a time. Eventually, the second sister's master was captured and tortured. During torture, the master gave up the apprentice's location, and the second sister was then tortured until she fell to the dark side. The second sister reminds a bit like the film Martyrs, isn't it? I wonder if they did that with her. The second sister eventually found the Jedi Cal Kestis, who travelled with the Inquisitor's former master. She stole Cal's holocron, which contained information about all the galaxy's Force-sensitive younglings. Cal and the second sister's master confronted her again and managed to turn her back to the light side. Tragically, Darth Vader immediately killed the second sister for her failure and betrayal. Third sister. We don't know much about the third sister yet, but she'll be featured in the Obi-Wan Kenobi series on Disney Plus, and she's got a name, Reva, which means she's going to become a goodie. She seems to be both a strong fighter and a powerful tactician. In the trailer, we see her fighting against multiple targets, assumably Jedi. Or do you mean presumably Jedi? Never assume. Makes an ass out of you and me. And going head-to-head with Luke's Uncle Owen. She could be just big enough of a threat to draw Obi-Wan out of hiding. It's good though. Even though, Ben, as he is then, could come and save Uncle Owen and drive her away, but Uncle Owen will still run him off the moisture farm. Because that wizard's just a crazy old man. Right, fourth sister. She's looking a bit Mandoish or Imperial Guard, like a Cylon. The fourth sister primarily remains a mystery as well. She is briefly mentioned in the comic book series Star Wars Adventures Return to Vader's Castle. An Alliance commander uses the fourth sister's armour to sneak into Darth Vader's castle. We aren't sure how the commander obtained the fourth sister's armour or what her speciality is. What her speciality is. Almost everything about her story has yet to be explored. The fifth brother. Leadership originally assigned the fifth brother to target Eith Koth, but later the fifth brother also helped hunt Kanan Jarrus and Ezra Bridger. He's known for his strength and his direct fighting style. At times he clashed with the other Inquisitors' more tactical fighting approaches. The seventh sister in particular once scolded him for trying to kill Ezra as the Padawan wandered off alone. Instead she wanted to use the Padawan as bait to hunt his masters. Seeing as how the Inquisitors failed to defeat the United Jedi, the fifth brother's idea to pick them off one at a time might have been more successful. The sixth brother, looks like Judge Death, doesn't he? From Darth Vader's perspective, the sixth brother had trouble forgetting his Jedi training. Vader cut off the sixth brother's arm during training to fix this problem and teach the sixth brother to fight more defensively. The sixth brother proved his newfound ruthlessness by betraying the ninth sister in order to ensure his own escape during a mission. Later, he ran into beloved Star Wars character Ahsoka Tano while investigating a Force-sensitive child. Ahsoka seemed like easy pickings without her lightsaber, but proved to still be a powerful threat. Ahsoka managed to defeat the sixth brother by summoning the crystals from his lightsaber, and the sixth brother and his lightsaber exploded in the process. Ahsoka blanching his crystals to use in her own new lightsaber. Very good. Seventh Sister. The seventh sister was sent to hunt Ahsoka Tano as Ahsoka became allies with Kanan and Ezra. The seventh sister worked closely with the fifth brother and even the eighth brother to hunt their targets, especially when they all united on Malachor. The seventh sister enjoyed hunting Jedi but never defeated Ahsoka. Darth Maul ruthlessly killed her alongside her peers. Eighth brother. The eighth brother remained more loyal to Palpatine than Darth Vader, even after Palpatine gave Vader command over the Inquisitors. According to CBR, the eighth brother also has a unique hilt that shoots out lightsaber blades. The eighth brother was assigned to hunt Darth Maul, but failed. He almost escaped the fight by flying away using the helicopter function of his lightsaber. Helicopter function. Big H button on it. However, his lightsaber malfunctioned and he presumably fell to his death. The ninth sister. Looks a big lass, doesn't she? The ninth sister survived the sixth brother's betrayal but lost her leg in the process. She was chosen to become an Inquisitor for her strong connections with people. After torture and falling to the dark side, she used those connections for interrogation and torture rather than healing and relationships. The ninth sister fell off a ledge on Kashyyyk and presumably died after losing a duel with Cal Kestis in Jedi Fallen Order. I have never finished it, so I don't know. Don't think I've even got very far in it, to be honest. I'm not a gamer. However, the ninth sister has surprised us with her survival skills before, so it's always possible that we will see her again. Tenth brother. With flowing locks. I could play the tenth brother, couldn't I? I've got squinty eyes as well. Before he was an Inquisitor, Jedi Prosset Dibbs became disillusioned with the Jedi Order during a mission with Jedi Master Mace Windu, who may be getting his own show. We'll see. Dibbs attacked Windu but failed to kill him. Windu pleaded with the Council on Dibbs' behalf, and Dibbs was allowed to leave the Jedi Order. His hate for the Jedi eventually caused him to willingly join the Inquisitors. During a mission, he convinced Purge troopers to execute Order 66 and fire on the Jedi, but then the Purge troopers also fired on the 10th brother and killed him in the process. And there we go, that's it. So that's the Inquisitors that we know about so far. Maybe we'll see some more in Obi-Wan Kenobi. We'll see. Excuse me. Right, let's have some Star Trek news, Let's have some Star Trek. Star Trek Strange New Worlds' Kirk image may hide a major twist. Star Trek Strange New Worlds is set to include James T. Kirk, but the announcement image hints the series may have its own massive plot twist, or they've just got it wrong, which is more likely if you ask me. The prequel series, Star Trek Strange New Worlds, is poised to showcase the adventures of the USS Enterprise while it was commanded by Captain Christopher Pike, ostensibly set sometime after the events of Star Trek Discovery Season 2, which prominently featured Pike and his crew. Strange New Worlds takes place approximately a decade before the start of Star Trek the original series. Paul Wesley was recently announced as portraying the original series protagonist James T. Kirk in Strange New Worlds, and while a welcome addition to the cast, that hints that the upcoming show may be bringing a plot twist to the established Star Trek mythos. In the preview image heralding Wesley's casting announcement as Kirk, the character is seen seated in the captain's chair of a starship, stoically gazing at the wonders of the cosmos. Closer inspection reveals that Wesley's Kirk has the familiar markings of a captain on his Starfleet uniform. Captain in the original series is a broken central band. not a solid one, so they've got that wrong. Since Strange New Worlds is supposed to be taking place years before Kirk serves as the captain of the Enterprise, which is his first command, that detail raises some inconsistencies that will likely signal some big changes away from what fans expect. Yeah, well, they've just got it wrong, haven't they? Oh, this could be the last shot of the series. If they're just going to do one series, it could be the last shot of Kirk assuming command of the Enterprise at the age of, I think it was 32 or 33. Can't remember. But it doesn't look like William Shatner at all, does it? It looks... William Shatner was, a formidable presence, wasn't he? Let's say that. And he doesn't look like a formidable presence. Anyway, at the approximate time of Strange New Worlds, Kirk would be serving as an officer aboard the USS Farragut and being mentored by his commanding officer, Captain Garavik, before Garavik's untimely demise facing a bloodthirsty extraterrestrial monster. That backstory suggests that Kirk could be wearing a captain's uniform in the photo, either as an interim captain or that there will be changes to the established franchise history that place him either in command of a different starship or in charge of the Enterprise far earlier than anticipated. However, changes to the timeline would likely upset Star Trek's long-time fan base. It's too late, we're already upset. So using Kirk to make a major retcon seems improbable. I won't put it past them. I would not put it past them. Another possibility behind Kirk being seen in a captain's uniform is that it's all a grand misdirect. He's either wearing the command uniform as part of a training exercise or in flash-forward sequences to Kirk's captaincy of the Enterprise. Let's say, or it's the final shot of the series. Strange New Worlds could use a narrative framing device of Spock recalling his history serving under Pike and telling it to Kirk as Kirk takes command of the Enterprise, and given the tragic fate that befalls Pike, Kirk's choice in uniform could hint at an even bigger twist for Strange New Worlds' overarching story. Pike is destined to endure horrific injuries while rescuing people from a fire, resulting in his premature retirement from active duty. This was elaborated on and foreshadowed in Discovery Season 2, with Pike receiving a vision of his future but deciding to selflessly progress with his Starfleet service anyway. Pike could endure his accident over the course of the new series, resulting in Kirk taking command of the Enterprise in his place, but that would effectively make Strange New Worlds a modern retread of the original series era, which is also highly unlikely. Star Trek Strange New Worlds is poised to delve into a relatively unexplored period of Star Trek history, weaving additional familiar characters like Dr. M'Benga, Nurse Chapel and Nyota Uhura into Pike's adventures. With Kirk being such a celebrated character in the franchise, the character's inclusion in Strange New Worlds is certainly one that fans are looking forward to. But perhaps more than asking how Wesley will portray the character, fans have a bigger set of questions about how the character will appear and what exactly his striking uniform designation entails for the prequel series. Then it's on Paramount Plus on May 5th. Don't know internationally. Don't care, to be honest. Because they'll just mess it up. And you know what I think they'd do? I won't put it past Kurtzman. If he's a success as Captain Kirk, they'll remake the original series. That's what they'll do. They'll commission, a 5-season they'll just call it Star Trek, and it'll be a remake of the original series. But it won't be a remake. It'll be a reimagining, bringing it into the visual style of the rest of Kurtzman Trek. I won't put it past them. I would not put it past them for an instant, because they don't care about classic Star Trek. Even though they keep putting all these member berries in, they don't really care at all. Right, here we go. Little bit of a nostalgia. The lost Buckinghamshire Film Studio, where Star Wars and Chitty Chitty Bang Bang movie scores were recorded. It was a place where iconic Hollywood directors such as Steven Spielberg and Stanley Kubrick once sat to watch first cuts of their films. Can you see it, pictures? Yeah. And there it is. The Rank Organisation Film Processing Division. It looks very, tropical. It looks like it's somewhere like Florida or somewhere, but it isn't. It's in Buckinghamshire. As you can tell from the cars. Right, Buckinghamshire. Oh, gee, they've got writing all the way across. Let me adjust this so you can see it all. I have to get rid of it. I'll have to make it smaller, aren't I? Hey, unbelievable. Right, you can see it all now, guy. Buckinghamshire has played host to some of the biggest cinematic classics that have hit our screens, like Gladiator, Harry Potter and James Bond, thanks to Pinewood Studios in Ivor Heath. However, just 4 miles away, in the south of Denham, was once the greatest movie laboratory outside of Hollywood. Or laboratory. I'm from Yorkshire, I said laboratory. Like lavatory. The Denham Film Studios once splurged out great classics like Great Expectations, Hamlet and The Thief of Baghdad during 1936 to 1952. Founded in 1935 by Alexander Corder, the site was known as the Fisheries and was designed by architects Walter Gropius and Maxwell Fry. It was a place where iconic Hollywood directors such as Steven Spielberg and Stanley Kubrick once sat to watch first cuts of their films. Where you going? After the 1950s, it was only used for recording movie scores for notorious films such as Chitty Chitty Bang Bang, Alfred Hitchcock's Vertigo, notorious, Star Wars, Jane Eyre and The Great Train Robbery, and the voices for iconic Jerry Anderson classic Captain Scarlet were also recorded there. Dun 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 dun. Sorry, I just had to do that. But recently, in the last decade, the historic listed studio buildings were given a new lease of life and undergone a massive transformation. Now there are 224 converted and newly built homes standing in its place, so it's not there anymore. The buildings have an Art Deco-inspired collection of luxurious new and converted homes by Western Homes. It boasts homes with stylish living rooms and spacious stone panel. Don't care. What we're talking about the old place. Those who live at the Denham Film Studios development are treated like movie stars with exclusive access to the fully restored cinema and private bar. It also includes a lifestyle which comes complete with a concierge who looks after you and will book everything from taxis to restaurant bookings. I don't understand this. I don't get it. I thought the centres had all been knocked down and newly built homes. Unless it's just talking about the converted ones. Whatever. Anyway, we dug up some old photos from our archives which revealed the mesmerising studios. Take a look at Denham Film Studios before it was turned into a housing development. And there's the screening room. Denham Studios. Can you read that now? There you go. Denham Film Studios cinema interior, where iconic Hollywood directors such as Steven Spielberg and Stanley Kubrick once sat to watch first cuts of their films. There you go. And there's the outside and exterior shot of the Denham Film Studio, which we've already seen, sort of. And there's an aerial view. That's the... that's that. Isn't it? That's there. And that's the rest of it. The sound stages and such, I should imagine. Here we go. The studio operated as a production film studio from the 1930s to early 1950s. And there they've got white coats, so you can tell the technicians back in the olden days. And there's another shot. A line of vehicles stationed outside the studio, ready to rush off. In British style. Oh, there we go. There you go. So I just found that an interesting little piece of British movie history, but it's not there anymore. It's been converted and turned into houses. So I wonder if they converted that bit, the Art Deco part, and just knocked all that down and built new homes there. I bet they have. I bet that's what they've done. But this will be all like flats and stuff, I bet. Apartments. And that'll be the expensive stuff in there. If you've got a concierge and stuff, and people who can treat you like a movie star. Anyway, right. Connor Trini. Oh, I've got to readjust this again now, haven't I? I've got to be able to see my red bits. Ooh. Oh, where are you? There we go. Connor Trinier. I know you can't see rest of Edinburgh. I'm sod it. Connor Trinier and Dominic Keating on their late night show, Star Trek podcast. And there they are. That's Connor Trinier. That's Dominic Keating, looking like an extra from Pirates of the Caribbean. I once drew a picture of him, give it to him at a convention, and he said he'll hang it in his attic. And I went, oh, charming. And then he said, no, it'll be like Dorian Gray. He'd put it in his attic so he'd never grow old. Oh, right, that's very nice. But still thought we were being snarky, because he's kind of like that. Anyway, right. Fans of Star Trek know Dominic Keating and Connor Trinier, the two actors, brought to life the characters Chief Tactical Officer Lieutenant Malcolm Reed and Chief Engineer Commander Charles Trip Tucker III. For 4 seasons on Star Trek Enterprise, fans know that these characters were an invaluable part of the crew and became beloved by all who watched the show. I think Trip did, but I don't think Reed were particularly popular. Just my opinion. What fans of the show might not know is that Keating and Trinier have become very close friends. In the 20 years since the end of Enterprise, the duo have worked together through multiple Trek conventions and remained great mates, as Keating says. Welcome to Shuttlepod. It was because of this friendship that Keating and Trinier thought a podcast about their days on Enterprise made sense, after being inspired by some of the other celebrity shows that cover Star Trek, most notably The Delta Flyers, which is hosted by Garrett Wang, Harry Kim, and Robert Duncan McNeil, Tom Paris. The friends decided to give it a try. I've not heard of that Delta Flyers. I'll have to look that up, see if it's on YouTube. Bet it ain't. It'll be on Spotify or bloody iTunes. You've got to pay for it a bit. But maybe not, I don't know. Oh, they've got their own website, deltaflyers.org. There you go. But you've got to... Oh, never mind. I'm being grumpy tonight. I think that we determined that it was a good idea to have a voice for one, our relationship as characters and friends, said Trinier in a recent interview that he and Keating did with Heavy. To represent the show and who we are as people, we thought that there was some value in that. Their show, The Shuttlepod Show, officially launched on February 20th, 2022, with an episode featuring John Billingsley, known to all as Dr. Phlox. And there's links. As I say, if you follow links in the description, you'll be able to, open this page and follow these links to the YouTube pages. I have subscribed, but I've got to admit, I've not actually got round to watching any of them yet. Anyway, we've been not only castmates for a long time, but we've been dear friends for a very long time, Trinier said to Keating. And for this episode, you came to my house. Welcome in. Come in, have a chat about what you're doing and what your experience was and how your life is going and off of Star Trek. Trinier said they will focus mainly on Enterprise to start, but eventually broaden the show's focus onto the other Trek shows and films. He also said that they plan to shine the spotlight on folks who have been inspired by Star Trek in some way which affected their life or career. Astronauts, engineers, anything in the world that has to have some sort of circular relationship to the show, said Trinier. We've met many people of these. We've met many of these people at the convention, said Keating. They come up to our tables, and these are some really smart people, unless you're like some idiot like me with a drawing, from MIT and the like. And they say that our show inspired them, and we're old enough for them to say that. We're old enough for them to say that. That's what it means. Keating and Trinier said that fan participation is a significant focus of their show. In each episode, they take questions directly from the audience. Fans are encouraged to send their questions to the show via a web form located at the bottom of the Shuttlepod Show website. They also participate in Trek Trivia, as asked by producers Erica LaRose and Mark Cartier. Some of their guests, like Gary Graham, did not fare so well with the trivia. LaRose also asked Keating, Trinier, and the show's guests fun questions like choosing just 3 things to take to a desert island. A Vulcan walks into a bar. Keating noted that his trivia scores will only improve as he's been binging Enterprise during the past few weeks. He said that re-watching the shows made him a bigger fan of the hard work they put in during those 4 seasons. I love Enterprise, I do. I might watch it again. I'm watching Voyager at the minute, but I might start watching Enterprise again as well. I have not looked at a frame of it in 20 years, said Keating. I've got to tell you, I totally get it now. I can't wait to finish our show and go back and watch the other series. I've been told to watch the first 2 episodes of Next Gen and why, and get into about season 4. I'll see. Maybe I'll do the whole damn thing. I think you were probably told to ignore the first 2 seasons of Next Gen. Anyway. If we're going to be what we hope we want to be, I hope that this show catches fire and that Connor and I can be something like late-night Star Trek chat show hosts, said Keating. The Shuttlepod show is available now on all major podcast platforms, including Apple, Google, Spotify, and more. Fans can also subscribe to the show on YouTube. For more information or to submit questions to the show, visit their website. There's a link there. Special thanks to Enterprise expert Tammy Matthews for assistance with this article. Yeah, I'll give him a listen at some point. I like Enterprise. I do. A lot of people don't, but I do. I think it's great. Now, then what's this one? I forgot. Oh, aye. The future of the Orville, is very up in the air, according to Chad Coleman, who plays Bortus's husband, Clyden. Right, the Orville is gearing up for a massive 3rd season. Let me have a drink. Set to debut on Hulu this summer and Disney Plus, everywhere else in the world. Yet the future of the show has long been in the air since Fox moved on from them after their 2nd season. The series has been rumoured to have just a 1-season deal with Hulu, and it's very possible the show is cancelled after this season. Chad Coleman, who plays Clyden, the Moclan husband of Bortus, seems to feel that a 4th season is anything but guaranteed. When speaking to The Express, the former Walking Dead standout... Was he? Yes. Gave fans a reason to be pessimistic about its future. It's the best. Honestly, it feels like we never get the chance... if we never get the chance to do this again, we better do every damn thing we can. That's a telling comment, one that clearly shows that the show is anything but a lock. Making sure you go all out just in case, that may mean the show's future has already been determined or could be determined by the 4th season. The Orville has faced rumours like this before, but hope remains. There were rumours the show was over while it was filming season 3, due to the set they were filming on being sold and allegedly taken apart. The show has since done reshoots, so that isn't exactly a strong rumour any longer, but to say that the Orville isn't guaranteed the 4th season, I think is fair. It's going to a streaming service that needs views. Oh, pardon me. And if the Orville can't be a hit for them, it won't be surprising to find out that season 3 is the last in the series. That said, the fan support for the show has been strong, at least among Star Trek fans. Whether fans of new Trek or not, it seems just about all Trek fans are on board with the Orville. So there's hope, and should this be the last season, then I'm sure it'll be an epic one. There we go. We'll have to wait and see, won't we? I say it's on Hulu in America, but here in the UK, it's on Disney Plus. And it's good as the Orville. Like I said, the first season... There were too many gags, too many knob gags and fart gags and all that stuff. And, Seth MacFarlane style humour. But then in the 2nd season, they kind of dropped that a little bit and got more into the stories and the action. And season 2 was excellent. Right. Ty West finds the link between horror and porn. Ty West and the X-Cast, that's the name of his film that's coming up, X. And the X-Cast chat about their new A24 horror movie, including the symbiosis between genre filmmaking and pornography. Ooh, I say. And that's a still from the film. I like Ty West. I'm reading this because I'm a bit of a Ty West fan. I like his films. Anyway, it's been almost a decade since Ty West last helmed a feature-length horror movie, which makes his return to the South by Southwest Film Festival in 2022 special. It was at the same fest that he premiered his first film in the genre, The Roost, in 2005, launching what would be a string of 7 chillers that included more than a few cult classics. The House of the Devil, 2009, which is great. The Innkeepers, 2011, which is great. And VHS, 2012, which he did a segment for, which actually wasn't one of the better segments, to be honest, on that VHS, but there you go. He also did Cabin Fever 2, which wasn't great, to be honest. But I think he was more of a director for hire in that case, Cabin Fever 2. And he also did The Sacrament, which was like a found footage film, and that was really good as well. What else has he done? And what they call it? Hang on, I've got a list here somewhere. That's it. In a Valley of Violence, yeah, he did that as well. In a Valley of Violence, like a western, and that's really good and all. And he did another, didn't he? I did a thingy for that ABCs of Death, which is a bit like VHS, except in alphabetical order. Anyway, but 9 years is a long time to be out of a game, and in that interim, horror has changed and changed again, earning more critical acclaim with the rise of so-called elevated horror, a term West eschews, I've never heard of it before, and more mainstream haunted house thrills. Yet when we sit down with West, as well as actors Brittany Snow and Martin Henderson, to discuss their new film X, West has a small bone to pick with the shape of modern horror movies. I took a break from making horror movies. He went into television, didn't he? Did a lot of TV, I was going to say it here. I took a break from making horror movies, West explains. I made seven of them in a row, so I decided I don't want to repeat myself, and I found myself directing television for a while and having a great time. But there was just something nagging at me. I felt that modern horror movies had gotten a little soft. Oops. While West doesn't elaborate on exactly what it is that's missing in modern genre efforts, he speaks eloquently about the craft of classic horror cinema, from the effects to the layered uses of tension, and more than just what he says, he shows the admiration too in X, his most aggressive and gore-soaked effort to date. It's a movie that happily tiptoes along the grindhouse sensibility with its very setup, a group of young filmmakers in 1979 go out into the Texan heartland to shoot a porno and get more than they bargained for when they come under the surprisingly watchful gaze of the elderly couple whose guest house they're renting. That says that House of the Devil were given like late 70s, early 80s feel to it, and it worked really well. So if this is going to be a similar style, it should be good. West tells us that that setting X in the world of amateur 70s pornography is not just about having a salacious backdrop to a slaughter. Rather, the idea was to make his return to horror about the craft of movie making itself, even before the XXX factor became involved. I had an idea that had been percolating in my mind, says West. I love movies, and I want to make a movie about filmmaking, and this is where we ended up. Even so, the filmmaker did not want X to be about making a film in his favourite genre. I didn't want to make a movie about people making a horror movie. That's too meta for me, West says. But if you could show people making an adult film, you could kind of get the gist of making any kind of film. A lot of actors and actresses and filmmakers get the start, don't they, in the adult industry. Indeed, so I'm told, there is strange shadowy reflection between true independent horror cinema, perhaps even more so back in the less elevated times of the 1970s, and pornography. Says West, porn was not specific to Texas, although in 1978 Debbie Does Dallas, although that wasn't filmed in Texas, ended up being one of the bigger adult film hits. That was sort of the golden age of that type of filmmaking, and for me, horror and porn have always had this symbiotic relationship of being outsider films. Like it was a way to get into the movie business without all of the things you needed from Hollywood. You could make them independently. While the filmmaker hesitates to say they were more linked then than now, he does acknowledge that in many ways they could court the same audience in the pre-VHS days that X is trying to recapture. I think it was more the way that you made a low-budget horror film, an exploitation movie that would go to a drive-in, or something like that. It was not that far removed from how you would make an adult movie and go straight to adult movie theatres, says West. And West and his team were making an independent horror movie that would go to theatres, and perhaps some drive-ins down the road. The parallels between the characters going out to make such a film was also not lost on the cast, though they're quick to point out that filming in 2021 New Zealand is quite a bit different than the film's on-screen setting of 79 Texas. I think we all had the camaraderie of knowing what kind of movie we signed up for, says Snow, which was an elevated horror. I've never heard this term before, elevated horror. I don't know what it means, because it could have been done in different ways. It could have been done where this is a movie where we're just making a porno in 1979, but I think all of our characters have drive and entrepreneurial ideas, and I think we kind of felt like that as a group as well. We were making something that we wanted to make better than just a normal horror movie. Henderson agrees, noting that given the extraordinary circumstances of making the movie in a foreign country during the COVID-19 pandemic brought a tightness to the cast, not unlike their on-screen characters who spend their nights sitting around the guitar and reminiscing. Says Henderson, we were all sent down to New Zealand. We had to quarantine for a couple of weeks. We had this shared experience of being in hotels and then released, and we got to run out and make this movie. And I think there was a genuine excitement that we all had, that we were making something that was fun and different, and the audiences were hopefully going to have a really good time watching. And I think we felt pretty bonded. It's going on a bit, is it? Oh, it's nearly done. It's nearly done. When asked whether he considers X to be a straight-ahead slasher movie, West concedes it's fair to label it more of a slasher than any of his other films. However, right down to the setting the movie in 70s Texas, which inescapably calls to mind Tobe Hooper's Texas Chainsaw Massacre from 1974, the filmmaker hopes he's inviting expectations from audiences that can then be subverted. Ooh, that dreaded term, subverting expectations. Because at its heart there is a strong sympathy for the film's elderly killers. Oh, right, so you're spoiling it, are you? Who look on at the young filmmakers doing salacious things in their barn with faded memory and envy. I've seen the trailer, but I can't remember if it spoiled anything. But they've just spoiled it there, haven't they? Says West, I think there's something existential for everybody where you get a little bit older. And some things you used to be able to do, you can't do as much anymore, and people coming up behind you seem to have no problem doing it. And that's a complicated feeling to deal with, and people deal with it in other ways. Perhaps in this movie they deal with it in a rather extreme way. That feeling of longing about what you don't have, or can no longer have, is one of the elements Snow thinks elevates the material. Ooh, not if you heard my stomach gurgling. I'm hungry. I think we're all wrestling with the idea that we want to make something of our life that hasn't been presented to us before, she says of the characters. I think we're all there for that reason, specifically for my character, Bobby Lynn. I think she knows what she has, and she wants to utilise it to the best of her ability, and she's very in control of wanting to write her own narrative. So there is that sort of looming feeling where she doesn't want to accept a life that she doesn't feel is meant for her. So I think it's that thing all the characters are struggling with a little bit, where the life that they have and the life they want. And it is how the movie grapples with those feelings where the film may prove to have more than sex and slaughter on its mind. It was interesting to watch the movie for the first time with my sister, who knew nothing about the movie, recalls Henderson. And during the poignant parts of that aspect of the movie, I looked over and she was actually in tears, which I guess in hindsight shouldn't have surprised me. But I was quite surprised it affected her that much. So I think there's something about this story that is relatable. I think it is a universal thing that we're all having to experience to some degree, and I think the movie delivers in a way that is actually quite surprising for a film of this genre. X premiered at the South by Southwest Film Festival on March 13th. A24 releases the film everywhere on March 18th. So it's out now, basically. It's basically out now. And I'm looking forward to it because, as I said, I'm a fan of Ty West and I've been looking forward to his new stuff. Now he's not doing TV now. Well, he might still be doing, but he's got back to movies. Right, anyway. So, hey, where are we? Here we go. Our universe may have a twin that runs backward in time. Sounds like something from Star Trek, doesn't it? Or that final episode of Next Generation where they had an anomaly. Oh, God, that dreaded word. That were running backwards through time, wasn't it? Anyway. An anti-universe running backwards in time could explain dark matter and cosmic inflation. Is that why petrol's so expensive now? A wild new theory suggests there may be another anti-universe running backward in time prior to the Big Bang. The idea assumes that the early universe was small, hot and dense, like my armpits, and so uniform that time looks symmetric going backward and forward. If true, the new theory means that dark matter isn't so mysterious. It's just a new flavour of a ghostly particle called a neutrino that can only exist in this kind of universe, and the theory implies there would be no need for a period of inflation that rapidly expanded the size of the young cosmos soon after the Big Bang. If true, then future experiments to hunt for gravitational waves or to pin down the mass of neutrinos could answer once and for all whether this mirror anti-universe exists. Physicists have identified a set of fundamental symmetries in nature. The three most important symmetries are charge. If you flip the charges of all the particles involved in an interaction to their opposite charge, you get the same interaction. Parity. If you look at the mirror image of an interaction, you'll get the same result. And time. If you run an interaction backwards in time, it looks the same. Physical interactions obey most of these symmetries most of the time, which means that there are sometimes violations. But physicists... I was thinking about sapphire and steel. It just popped in my head. Look it up if you don't know what I'm talking about. But physicists have never observed a violation of a combination of all three symmetries at the same time. If you take every single interaction observed in nature and flip the charges, take the mirror image and run it backward in time, those interactions behave exactly the same. The fundamental symmetry is given a name, CPT symmetry, for charge C, parity P, and time T. In a new paper, this doesn't go on for ages, does it? Nah, not too long. In a new paper, where are you going? Recently accepted for publication in the journal Annals of Physics, that's Annals, scientists propose extending this combined symmetry. Using this symmetry only applies to interactions, the forces and fields that make up the physics of the cosmos. But perhaps if this is such an incredibly important symmetry, it applies to the whole entire universe itself. Wow. In other words, this idea extends this symmetry from applying just to the actors of the universe, forces and fields, to the stage itself, the entire physical object of the universe. We live in an expanding universe. This universe is filled with lots of particles doing lots of interesting things, and the evolution of the universe moves forward in time. If we extend the concept of CPT symmetry to our entire cosmos, then our view of the universe can't be the entire picture. Instead, there must be more. To preserve the CPT symmetry throughout the cosmos, there must be a mirror image cosmos that balances out our own. This cosmos would have all opposite charges than we have, be flipped in the mirror and run backward in time. Our universe is just one of a twin. Taken together, the two universes obey CPT symmetry. The study researchers next asked what the consequences of such a universe would be. They found many wonderful things. For one, a CPT-respecting universe naturally expands and fills itself with particles without the need for a long theorised period of rapid expansion known as inflation. While there is a lot of evidence that an event like inflation occurred, the theoretical picture of that event is incredibly fuzzy. It's so fuzzy that there is plenty of room for proposals of viable alternatives. And when they say fuzzy, that is actually a scientific term. It means not certain. Fuzzy logic and all that, Second, the CPT-respecting universe would add some additional neutrinos to the mix. There are 3 known neutrino flavours: the electron neutrino, muon neutrino, and tau neutrino. Strangely, all 3 of these neutrino flavours are left-handed, referring to the direction of its spin relative to its motion. All other particles known to physics have both left and right-handed varieties, so physicists have long wondered if there are additional right-handed neutrinos. A CPT-respecting universe would demand the existence of at least one right-handed neutrino species. This species would be largely invisible to physics experiments, only ever influencing the rest of the universe through gravity. But an invisible particle that floods the universe and only interacts via gravity sounds a lot like dark matter. Dun dun dun! The researchers found that the conditions imposed by obeying CPT symmetry would fill our universe with right-handed neutrinos, enough to account for the dark matter. Nearly done. We would never have access to our twin, the CPT mirror universe, because it exists behind our Big Bang, before the beginning of the cosmos. But that doesn't mean we can't test this idea. The researchers found a few observational consequences of this idea. Sorry, I'm just thinking now, it's got me reminded of Doppelganger, that Jerry Anderson film, 1968, I think. Or it 1968, 16, whatever. Late 60s, or early 70s, or 1970. Whenever. Came out before UFO. Reminded me of that then. Anyway, I forgot where I was. The researchers found a few observational consequences of this idea. For one, they predict that the 3 known left-handed neutrino species should all be Majorana particles, which means that they are their own antiparticles, in contrast to normal particles like the electron, which have antimatter counterparts called the positrons. As of now, physicists aren't sure if neutrinos have this property or not. Ooh, my bum's going numb. Additionally, they predict that one of the neutrino species should be massless. Currently, physicists can only place upper limits on the neutrino masses. If physicists can ever conclusively measure the neutrino masses, and one of them is indeed massless, that would greatly bolster the idea of a CPT symmetric universe. Lastly, in this model, the event of inflation never occurred. Instead, the universe filled with particles naturally on its own. Physicists believe that inflation shook space-time to such a tremendous degree that it flooded the cosmos with gravitational waves. Many experiments are on the hunt for these primordial gravitational waves, but in a CPT symmetric universe, no such waves should exist. So if those searches for primordial gravitational waves turn up empty, that might be a clue that the CPT mirror universe model is correct. There you go. I hope you found that interesting. There's a mirror universe. As it just like Doppelganger, went to a planet where everything was a mirror of Earth. Even the writing was mirror imaged. And he never noticed for ages. Anyway, because he thought he were back on Earth. Anyway, Russia dismisses, talked about this yesterday, Russia dismisses reports that cosmonauts' yellow and blue flight suits referred to the Ukraine. Like I said, they went to this new Russian crew went to the International Space Station, and while they were on their way, they changed into these yellow and blue flight suits, which some have suggested shows their support for Ukraine, but that's been dismissed. Russia's space agency, Roscosmos, has dismissed reports that 3 of its cosmonauts wore yellow and blue flight suits on the International Space Station in support of Ukraine. The cosmonauts, Oleg Artemyev, Denis Matviev, and Sergei Korsakov, wore the brightly coloured flight suits, which were yellow with blue patches similar to the colours of the Ukrainian flag, as they boarded the space station on Friday, March 18th. With Russia currently in the midst of a brutal war in Ukraine, the cosmonauts' choice of clothing raised questions among the media, including here on Space.com, on whether they were showing support for the Ukrainian people. On Saturday, Roscosmos officials, should have an echo for that when I said that, but I haven't got an echo thing, denied there was any connection to Ukraine and the flight suits, calling the media reports a funny invention of foreign bloggers and media, in the Telegram post translated by Google. SpaceX cool. Sometimes yellow is just yellow, Roscosmos wrote, adding that the flight suits are in the colours of Bowman Moscow State Technical University, where all 3 cosmonauts studied. The design of the uniform was agreed upon long before current events. Cosmonauts' flight suits are sewn together by the Russian Academy of Sciences about 6 months before launch. According to a UPI news report, Artemyev, Roscosmos shared in a second Telegram post, previously wore a yellow and blue flight suit during a 2014 mission to the International Space Station. Wasn't there something happening in Ukraine in 2014? Isn't that when Russia annexed Crimea? Maybe. Can't remember. Dmitry Rogozin, head of Roscosmos, also scoffed at the media's connection to Ukraine, writing on Twitter that under no circumstances will we force cosmonaut graduates of Bowman University not to wear the colours of the coat of arms of their alma mater. Sorry, I apologise to any Russians out there. I'm taking Mickey out, and I shouldn't do. Artemyev, Matviev and Korsakov launched to the space station on Friday aboard a Russian Soyuz MS-21 spacecraft that lifted off from Baikonur Cosmodrome in Kazakhstan. The trio docked at the space station a few hours later to begin a 6-month mission on the orbiting lab. The Soyuz cosmonauts joined 7 other crew members already on the station, a crew that includes 4 American astronauts, 2 other Russian cosmonauts, and 1 European astronaut representing Germany. And that's it. And that's your lot. That's your lot for tonight. I hope you enjoyed all that news. It were alright, wasn't it? It were alright. Make myself big. Right, so, as I always say, we'll leave it there. So, until tomorrow, when we should have some more news, wherever you are in the world, take care of each other, help each other out whenever you can, and all that cool stuff. I was going to say something, I forgot what it was. I'm useless. Anyway, as I said, be nice to each other, take care of each other. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and especially subscribe, and share the videos and all that stuff, do all that stuff. And until tomorrow, I'll see thee. And hopefully tomorrow I'll get a cap that fits me and don't pop off my head every 5 minutes. Look at it, my stupid head. Right, anyway, I'll see thee again.